So, this is the Oracle of the Ages Let's Play with Think 6616. So, I'm doing this as a parallel playthrough with Oracle of the Seasons because I think that they're both very interesting games that work very much in tandem with each other. So, where Oracle of the Seasons is primarily focused on being an action sort of Zelda game, a classic Zelda game if you want, Oracle of the Ages feels like it's trying to emulate a more modern Zelda game. In this case, it feels more like it's trying to draw parallels to Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask than it is trying to draw them with Link's Awakening or Link to the Past. Now, of course, graphically, it shares the same engine as the Seasons, and mechanically, it uses a variety of similar items, similar mechanics. However, its approach to dungeons and storytelling are probably what really set it apart in terms of that feeling. Personally, I think overall I enjoy Seasons more, but I'm interested in going back and looking through these. I think that seeing how Seasons approaches things while playing Ages as well will give me a better appreciation of how everything is approached. So, already made my character, Link, and message speed 5, so we can get through things quickly. Accept our quest! Rightio then. So, if you've already watched the other playthrough, you will probably notice a slightly different approach in that we start off doing the saving here, to an extent. Also, if you've watched the previous episode, and I will be assuming that you're watching in the order of Seasons, Ages, Seasons, Ages, Seasons, Ages, by the way. Anyway, we have Impa. We've already seen her in Seasons, and we know that that's not her standard colour. So we should know something is up. Also worth noting that despite these games not really fitting anywhere clearly in the history of Zelda, although I'm sure the Hyrule Chronicle, or Hyrule Historia I think it's called, will explain that a little bit more. But it's odd that Impa doesn't know who I am, and I don't believe Zelda does when you eventually get to meet Zelda. If we talk to these creatures, you'll notice that they comment about time stopping. And that's excellent foreshadowing. Well, for a Zelda game, it's excellent foreshadowing. I could move the rock for you, Impa. So I have a triangle on the back of my hand, which gives me magic rock-moving powers. One thing you'll notice is that animations for Link are significantly sped up from Link's Awakening. And I'm not really sure why. There's Nairu. Have to talk to everyone first, and then I can progress the plot. Much like Din, Nairu is primarily known as being a singer, or being a performer I should say, rather than being the oracle that she is. So they both use these as covers for what they're trying to be. Personally, I think Nairu's sprite's more interesting, but I don't like Nairu's actual picture in this little cutscene here. Although I think those bits of art really do help give a little bit more character. I don't know why, like it's a really trivial little bit, but that little moment of just seeing that extra detail, I think does actually help significantly. I wonder what evil troubles it could be. I find it kind of interesting that they're named after the Hylian gods, which of course makes sense, but given that we're not in Hyrule and it is somewhat clear that these characters, while being the oracles as such of respective elements, are not actually gods themselves. It's made clear in a short conversation in the future. Nairu was actually a child at one point, at the same time Ralph was. So the fact that they've been childhood friends implies that something could actually... implies that these are characters who can actually age. And here we have Verin. I think Verin's a much more interesting villain than Onyx from Oracle of the Seasons, because Verin's power is not actually that strong. Well, possessing people is very strong. But the amount of magic that she is actually shown to cast throughout most of the adventure is relatively low and based on whoever she possesses primarily. She has a great run when she possesses another character later on and she does cast some powerful magic, but it's primarily important that she possesses the right people and not her own body that's important. And now Nairu is evil. I think this in and of itself is a much more interesting plot device. Because of course, we can't just strike Nairu down, because Nairu is the Oracle of the Ages. What would happen if we destroy the Oracle of the Ages? We don't know. And of course, since Ralph has that strong emotional attachment to Nairu, you would know you wouldn't really want to actually risk killing her. Well, he wouldn't, because obviously emotional attachment. Interestingly, as much as we can go through time as we choose, or she can, the only two time periods we deal with are 400 years in the past and the present. I'm kind of disappointed there was no future time period, although I think that would have added a lot more difficulty, as Ages is quite an expansive game. Because while Seasons has 4 variants of any given area thanks to the seasons, Ages has much more significant variation between its 2 time periods than Seasons does. Because Seasons just has a few basic rules to which the world operates by. Winter freezes over water and so on and so forth. Ages doesn't have a consistent rule about how the past and future operate, which makes sense because a lot can happen in 400 years. Anyway, also, compared to the Seasons approach to showing how nature is destroyed, I think that one was a little bit stronger, because they actually use people, and I think the idea of aging rapidly and so on, or slowing down to nothing, is a lot more scary to people, because it's something that happens to people themselves, not to the general environment. You know, just generally more relatable. It's pretty obvious, really. And off goes presumptuous Ralph. Well, not presumptuous, excitable Ralph. Yep, I saved you, Impa. Well, not really. Dear Impa. I do actually like the kind of guilt that is in here, because this time it's actually Impa's fault. In Seasons, Impa was just a helpful companion, and sadly Dim was taken. In this, if Impa wasn't there, there's a really good chance that everything would be fine. The hero's wooden sword. I don't know why the hero has a wooden sword. It seems like a very ineffectual kind of weapon. But, given how long you can use it for, it seems to do its job very, very, very well. Rightio then. So, progression. Da 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 da. Anyway, enough singing. You should never sing in a Let's Play. Rule 1, Rule 2, and Rule 3. So if you watch Seasons, you'll know at the Maku Road that there's a short little dungeon to sort of teach you how to do dungeons. Interestingly, we see this twice. Once in the future, and then we do it shortly after in the past. And in the past, there's actually dungeon aspects. I'm not sure if this is a better tutorial, but it is kind of nice thematically to go and do it once and then do it again. Oh, and here we see the Maker tree. I should actually find out what Maker means in Japanese, because I'm sure it's something specific. The trees are kind of parallels of each other in each of the Seasons games. In Seasons, the tree is an old man, essentially. In this, a young girl. You know, this girl's a little bit forgetful, so is the tree in Seasons. It's sort of explained a little bit here, because since time is in flux, of course her memories are a little bit iffy, because they're actually changing. The tree's gone. We have to go back in time and save her. Conveniently, Nairi left a portal open. Let's hop through the portal. So the portals have a one-to-one match in their position with the past and present. I think the past-present dynamic is a lot more complicated than the Seasons one, but it's also a bit less interesting. So if I was looking at the map in the future, I'd see the same position. In Seasons, the world maps don't change drastically with the seasons. There are just certain consistent rules that are applied to the environment whenever you change seasons, basically. Ages doesn't have that consistency to it. Can't get to there to get to the Maker Tree to save her, because I can't get rid of those piles of dirt. So, time to explore a little bit and find out what's going on in the past. Rather than talking to everyone though, I'm just going to quickly dash to the place that I need to go, being the Dark Tower. Or Queen Ambi's tower. Now the motivation for Ambi wanting the tower is kind of interesting. I'll let the game explain it in just a moment. Good, sensible motivation. But no, time has stopped, allowing Queen Ambi to push her tower forwards. So we are exploring this primarily to get a shovel, as since the tower needs completion, obviously any extra workers will be good, even if they look entirely different. You'll notice the past has a relatively more brown colour palette, which personally I think is a bit bland. But I think it's a really effective way of distinguishing the periods, which is important. Because since it really matters that when you load the game, you know, it's a portable game, you want to identify whether you're in the past or present immediately. And since it's important to know where you are, you want to be able to do that as easily as possible. You don't want to be thinking, am I in the past or present at this moment? Admittedly, there's a few extra UI tweaks that do that, like whenever we enter an area, that little brown mark that appears in the top corner of the screen, if it's brown, it denotes we're in the past, and if it's nice, clean and blue, it denotes we're in the present. But that's relatively unimportant now. I find it kind of interesting that in 400 years there's not really any change in technology whatsoever. House is a bit nicer, but there's nothing that people see that you bring to people in the past and they go, wow, that's pretty fancy, which seems pretty odd. Like, you'd think there'd be some kind of technological change in 400 years. Maybe this is a Knights of the Old Republic style situation, where the past is just sort of not much different to the present. So, this is like our training dungeon, our tutorial dungeon, where the game sort of just explains how all the rules work. So, closed door, nice little pattern that we can see needs to be broken. Break it, we get a door open. Again, pushable blocks shows the blocks we use to obscure our vision, or sorry, not our vision, our way. Room with locked door and only little enemies that can't actually hurt us, demonstrating that one of the triggers is that you can open a door by killing all the enemies. Blocks obscuring your way that align together, a very important technique to know. Push buttons, chests, and it's not a very complex dungeon by any means, but I think it's a really nice tutorial because it never bogs you down with telling you, hey, this is how all this works, guys. Now, it does help considerably that, on a controls level, this is a very easy game. Press B to do the thing that B does, and press A to do the thing that A does. And switch those however you like. But I think that a lot of Zelda games do get bogged down with trying to explain what they are. That is something curious that I haven't quite understood. The Ages games seem to have a bit of an emphasis on the fact that certain blocks can only be pushed in one direction or another. You can't just push them whichever direction you like, which bogs it down without ever really needing to. No, leave me alone. So this is Young Maker Tree, and we are going to cause a very, very bad thing to happen. Because we were so daring and cool. Link, that's a nice name. I'm the Maker Tree. You are brave. They said the Oracle of the Ages convinced Queen Ambi to build a black tower. Maybe she made them attack me. Aww, she's so cute. How will you repay me? Oh great, she opened the gate. That's really nice. I hope she doesn't do anything else though. I feel a bit guilty. I'm very glad she's not giving me anything extra. My bride! Well, marital relations with a tree seem a little bit worrisome to me, but hopefully she's just joking. I mean, she went away 400 years. A Link! I find this relationship kind of disturbing, to be perfectly frank. It's a lovely joke, and it's a cute joke, you know, that in the past she fell in love with you and she's waited 400 years for you. And that she also misremembers your reply as a silent protagonist. However, I do think that it's a nice distinction, because you feel a little bit more personally attached to this tree, I think. The one in Elodrum, I don't really remember much of. The one here, though, I actually kind of enjoy seeing her. Okay then. No, you don't need to say it again. 8 essences of time. Okay then. The old graveyard's in the east. I can do that. Now if you've noticed already, I have an inventory of 3 items. In Oracle of the Seasons, I didn't get an inventory of... well, I only got an inventory of 2 items by the time I finished the first dungeon. Which you can't actually know because I haven't uploaded the video of me playing through the first dungeon, so don't worry about that comment. Oracle of the Ages throws a lot more at you a lot quicker, I think. And I'm unsure if that is a representation of a newer Zelda or not. But I think it's a very interesting difference. That the Seed Satchel is a dungeon item in Seasons, but just a regular item here. And let's go down here and overhear some kids talking. The ghost. Rightio then, let's get to our first dungeon. First of all, we need a key to get to our first dungeon. Oh look, how convenient. So I'm pretty confident the item that we're going to get is the power bracelet, but I'm not entirely sure. We shall find out together though. the seed satchel is an interesting item for the Zelda universe, I think, because, well, not for the Zelda universe, but it's a core component of the Oracle games, in that it can contain one of 5 seeds, I believe, each with very different impacts, and a lot of puzzles rely on clever use of seeds. Sometimes a bit gimmicky, but most of the seeds have pretty interesting properties, especially when you get the seed shooter or seed slingshot that you get in later Zelda games. Well, first dungeon here. So I might leave it at that, and I look forward to doing future episodes. Bye!